KFM, welcome to this segment of the Hot Seat tonight, where we have journalists and pundits to discuss very topical issues that have made it through the week of that passed. And this week we have had quite an avalanche of topics. We are going to zero down onto a few, and this evening it's very interesting that we are coming here and we are having quite many things to ponder about this country, most especially that very big allegation that's going through the parliamentary circles of 100 million given to all parliamentarians, most especially the NRM. But I know that very many opposition politicians have been recipients of the same. They are yet to come out, but it has remained the order of the day. I loved the Daily Monitor's cover on Wednesday. Was it Wednesday? Yes. The same story. And
same old story. And by the way, not even fortunately, but very coincidentally, the Standard of Kenya had House of Handshakes, and in the background was the Parliament of Kenya, and House of Deals is what is happening in Uganda right today. I want us to delve into that story tonight. But the hottest that happened, just that's still very, very, very hot, is the bail denial of Dr. Kizza Besigye this afternoon at the High Court in Kampala on allegations of treason together with his AD, Haj Obed Lutale. I want us to try to dig deep into that, and then we shall get back to the parliamentary circus, because I'm giving time to someone who is supposed to respond on parliamentaries on Parliament's behalf to get in here. Yeah, but in studio I have three competent and very able men who I have former journalist Julius, who has been with us here for quite a number of time, former journalist at Observer. He's now counsel. He's a full-fledged pleader. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you very much, Derek. Julius Mark Mutawe is my
Julius.
name.
Yes, Julius.
Nice to be back here again.
You know, when we're talking privately, I don't have to mention. So I have Isaac.
Yes.
Let me not make the mistake of not mentioning the other name. Isaac Ayondi, yes. The only man from Gomba on this show.
Gomba's finest.
Gomba's finest.
Gomba's
yes.
finest.
Welcome to the show.
Good evening, listeners, and thank you for the invite.
And I have Franklin Draku from the newsroom. He sits right next to me as we gather news in the newsroom here at the Daily Monitor, but also in the Nation Media Group. Franklin, welcome.
Good evening, listener, and it's a pleasure being here on the talk show again.
Yeah, he's a senior parliamentary reporter, so that's why we have him here. But as we start this show, I want us to start on the footnote of the veteran politician Dr. Kizza Besigye and his AD Obed Lutale being denied bail right there at the High Court. I want you, Counsel Julius Mutawe, to just try to take us through the things that have been happening, but also what happened this afternoon in court, because everyone expected that, this was finally a bail granted, but to the shock of many, it was denied.
Derek, you know, the first time we talked about this trial, when it was still in the court martial at Makindi, I remember I sat here and said that this case was more a political issue than it is a legal issue. If you look at the ruling today, this judge, with all due respect, she's one of the finest judges we have here in the country. She gave a well-reasoned decision from the onset. But as she came to its conclusion, she got out of the law and went into politics, because the verdict of the ruling and the body of the whole entire ruling, the 17 pages, they don't correlate. This is a bail application where the judge has agreed that the applicant satisfied all the grounds upon which they premised their application. All of them were ruled in the affirmative. In fact, while I followed the proceedings when the ruling was being read, even before the conclusion of the ruling, many, if not most of us, already had the picture of what the conclusion of the ruling would be.
Was it surprising?
Yes.
Okay.
It is a very surprising decision. More so the last 2-3 paragraphs.
Maybe to just give quite some background to those that you're saying.
Yes.
The Justice Kania, one of the premises on which she stood to say was that the sureties for Dr. Kizza Besigye were substantial because they are close friends.
Yes.
And elders, and in the same party, and that these would actually influence in case of anything.
The judge ruled in the affirmative,
yes,
on grounds of having a fixed place of abode for, yes, both applicants, them having substantial sureties, them being of advanced age, and also on the issue of them having what we call a circumstantial, situations. For example, them being of advanced age, that's where it was argued. All these issues were answered in the affirmative. Then the judge comes and he hinges on something which, in my opinion, I think was peripheral. The issue of them being influential people.
Yes.
And then she came to the conclusion that them being influential, they have the capacity to interfere with the investigation.
Yes.
Mind you, before these files were moved to the civil courts, the General Court Martial had even given the date upon which they were supposed to start the trial. This implied element investigations had been completed.
Yes.
Now we get surprised where the state comes from to say that they are at the initial stages of investigation. The question comes, upon which kind of evidence were they going to be tried? The other side. Doesn't that vindicate the people who are saying that the General Court Martial was a kangaroo court which did not even mind whether there is evidence or not? Because if trial was ready the other side, we expected that the moment these files come this side, the DPP is simply going to dust off a few things and start the trial. But coming back to the ruling, this actually Council Kwago put it right that today is a dark day in the jurisprudence of this country. We had not seen a ruling of a bail application where all the grounds upon which bail is granted have been satisfied to the satisfaction of court, and the court acknowledges it, and then the court veers away and goes into something very minor. Because usually a courts on the issue of interfering with the investigations, usually courts simply give it as an order upon the people being granted bail by ordering them not to try to interfere. It is simply made a condition upon which the bail can be cancelled. Instead of simply basing on that to deny it. Yet the ruling itself as stated, the judge stated that the state did not go ahead to give evidence to prove to court that these people would interfere. It is in the ruling where the judge has said the court did not go so far to tell us how these people would interfere. Now, after the court being in doubt,
how then does it become a ground to deny?
Yes, that is a question.
To deny.
That's why, for me, I can conclude that this ruling, the final decision, was a political decision. And I think it is only a political decision because the applicant is Dr. Kizza Besigye. If it were any other person, the applicants would be out of jail today.
Yeah, Counsel, I know that that Justice Kanya gave in the background there was every allusion to different court different decisions.
Yes.
Yeah, the decision of the Lady Justice Alice Komugisha that denied bail for the late Muhammad Segirinya.
Yes.
There was also another of the Justice Musa Sekana that ruled wasn't enough. That he alluded to that one, saying that there was not enough. They were not confident and comfortable with the sureties that had been provided in.
But this time,
what is quite surprising is that the sureties were very comfortable and everyone
was found substantial. The court has not disagreed or objected to any of the sureties. In fact, the court has not disagreed with any of the grounds upon which the applicants brought the application.
Yes.
But in my opinion, I think the ground upon which the court based its decision that this people would interfere was too minimal, was peripheral, for you to have people to continue languishing in jail after them being in court for all these months. And then there is history. Dr. Besigye has been granted bail severally in the past 21 years or so, and he has never breached any bail conditions. He has never gone back on bail.
So that was another ground on which to stand to give him bail. The court has stated it in the ruling that the record shows this person has been compliant. The court has stated that these people are presumed innocent until proved guilty or until they plead so under Article 28. The court has alluded to their right to liberty under Article 23. Yes.
Everything in this ruling pointed to the fact that these people were supposed to go home today. But the decision, as surprising as you saw it, of course, as a lawyer, I respect the decision. I can only disagree with it.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, counsel. And you are always giving us that kind of wise counsel from the legal perspective. And for us here, we are only pundits, and some of us are journalists. You find us giving us just the journalistic point of view. And I want to come to you, Franklin. You have been following this matter from the time that Dr. Kizza Besigye was arrested and Obed Lutale were arrested from Nairobi, and you would actually certainly know that this is more of a political. It would always turn a political than the legal it is now. We saw it building up from the court martial, and in the quashing of the court martial, and in now by the Supreme Court. Now here we are in the civilian court, and we are seeing the kind of judgments that are coming through, especially when you look at the judgment of the bail application. But I want to give you that pointer when we get out of the commercial break. After this bed that Counsel Julius has laid, we need to ride on that, and we see how applicable it can be in the political realms. Let's go for a quick commercial break, and when we return, we shall pick KFM. Welcome back to this quick commercial break. My name is Derek Wandera. I am the host for the KFM Hotseat on Friday, where I host pundits and journalists to discuss in depth the topical issues that have happened throughout the week. With Julius Mtawe, I have Isaac Ayonda, I have Franklin Draku, very able heads to dissect and try to demystify some of the issues that have happened through. And today we are trying to understand the bail denial of Dr. Kizza Besigye, and we've heard from a legal head, and they've tried to dissect what they feel were shortcomings on the court side, but also from what the expectations should have been And I want to cross over to the political side, and not the political side, but I want to cross over to the newsroom before I go to the political side. Now, this from the onset sounded and looked like a political matter more than it were even legal, in as much as it has a lot of legality, and that's why we are in court today. Franklin, was it surprising for the newsroom to report whatever they reported today? And as a person who has been following this matter from everywhere it started, do you feel you expected anything different from this? And because most of these stories that we've been writing from the time Dr. Kizza Besigye and Bed Lutale were arrested from Nairobi have been more political than legal. But also we know that there is a lot of legal innuendos that are tied and intertwined. Was the ruling of the Justice Kanya today more surprising than it was?
Right from the beginning, actually I would have been surprised if he was granted bail. One, right from the beginning, you would see where the process was heading to. The purported evidence that should have been kept somewhere was already thrown on social media. Why would, if you have a case against somebody, why would you simply throw your evidence for public opinion to judge? So there was already a problem. And the way the military court conducted its activities, it showed that there was a mischief somewhere. And when the Supreme Court made its ruling, there was the issue of keeping Dr. Besigye and Obed Lutale illegally in jail, because the military court was already put aside, and basically there was no basis why they should have been in jail. And the issues were all clear in public. So I would have been surprised to see him walking out today. And because of that, so when the ruling came, me, I already said, okay, they have confirmed it. The guy is going back. And truly he's back. We don't know what will happen next. But I am not a lawyer. I'm simply talking as a journalist, a person who has been following the proceedings. And therefore, when I'm giving my perspective, I give it from that angle. And therefore, all the legal bits, I will leave it for Julius and maybe Isaac, if you...
Isaac doesn't have...
I have. Yes,
so, okay, I'll leave it to Julius to handle that. But that's what happened. It was obvious that this guy would not get a bail. And because even, you see, the judge said, these are first-time offenders. They have no criminal records. Why would you deny people bail? You know... Basically, they should have been out, but it happened. So, wait to see what happens next.
I want to throw a little wax in the spanner right here, because from yesterday and from last night, the CDF has been tweeting things, and like he normally does, and even 2 or even 12 or 8 hours to the listening to the actually listening to hearing of the bail application, he said, I arrested and kept in prison that old man, this Besigye. He was always a weakling.
Mr. Wandera,
this is seriously. The CDF speaking some of the things. And you know that even where we are right now, if we didn't have Julius here, we wouldn't even be talking about this matter, because we would have wanted to hear from a legal perspective what what was transpiring right in court. But that we have him now, we can try to peg on his legal opinion, to try to discuss. But if you discuss and opine something on your social media, it really takes us where we're supposed to be. And it's little wonder that the likes of Franklin Draku here are not surprised with the ruling tonight. And I know that thousands and thousands and millions of Ugandans were expecting a bail grant.
And no chance.
What do you, as Isaac, I know you have been banning.
I'm banning to say something.
In fact, You were burning before even we came for the show. Now, here we go. Please tell us.
Honestly,
what is your
you see, I find it strange. The Kizza Besigye and Obed Lutale. This is a journey that they have been on. When they were in the court martial, there was an issue about whether they were there legally. Supreme Court made its decisions and everything. Besigye even went on a hunger strike to come to the civilian court because he always wins in the civilian court. Why is it that, so when he loses something as small, and I don't want to say as small, when he loses a bail application, then the civilian courts are not fair, while he actually went on a hunger strike to go there. Now, it is what it is. For me, one of the things that I find strange is that the people are dwelling on one issue as to why bail was denied, and that was, I think, around the risk of interference. But the judge made some sober arguments. He gave 3 reasons why he denied bail, and it's within his right, by the way, to deny the bail, right? He gave 3 reasons. The first one was the gravity of the charge, right? Nobody's talking about the fact that Kizza Besigye is facing treason. And the judge was, I think, very clear and said it's a very serious offense under the Ugandan law. It carries a potential for death penalty. The severity of the charge is a key factor in the decision. The second was the risk of interference with investigations. Now, this is the one counsel here has been bashing over and said the prosecution never brought any evidence that they would interfere. But the judge said the interference surrounds the nature of the crime, because the judge noted that the complexity and the international scope, which is the fact that this transnational nature of the alleged offenses, that these offenses were carried out in many countries, that is how there's a possibility of Kizza Besigye being able to unlock those connections, whatever, to conceal evidence or do whatever. That is in her second.
But the evidence is already out. Yeah, why?
And
the point I'm saying, the trial hasn't started. Evidence hasn't been brought. Kizza Besigye is being charged over this, right? So for me, it's a thing of we can argue the merits of whether she was right or wrong, but she gave very logical explanation as to why she was denying bail. The third one was public interest and national security. You see, that one, she said the prosecution argued the charges impacted national security and were of significant public interest, right? So for me, it is not illogical for the judge to come and deny bail under those circumstances. I think those who are propagating the issue of, it's his right, let him get bail and everything, should be now advocating for a speedy trial because bail has been denied and the reasons have been given. And I feel like, we can't fault the judge for making those.
About, first of all, it is true that bail, however much it is right, it is at the discretion of the court.
Yes.
The court has the discretion to grant or deny.
Yes.
But if you read Section 34 of the Judicature Act, the law states that where the court is to
deny,
to use its jurisdiction, the usage of that, its discretion, the usage of such discretion should be used judiciously.
Yes.
Judiciously means with fairness, with justice. You don't simply deny something when you have no basis for it.
But the basis,
now, for example, what he has said, that the gravity of the offences. We all know Besigye has been tried for the same offences
before,
severally before.
Once
for treason.
Once for treason.
He was for treason. Same offences. I was meaning the capital offences, rape, treason, that caliber of offences. He was granted bail and he complied. the judge would even have
so there is precedent.
Yes, would have used the history and say, okay, this is a man who has been before this very court under trial for capital offences, and he respected bail conditions. The issue of the judge saying what he has said, that the judge has said the offences were committed transnational.
But
Article 28 of the Constitution says the accused is innocent until he or she pleads guilty or until...
Let's have a quick commercial break, and when we return, you'll pick it from there, and we shall get Isaac Kayonde here to respond on the same. Welcome back from that quick commercial break. My name is Derek Wandera. I'm having Julius, I have Isaac and Franklin to dissect the weekly issues of the day. These are pundits and journalists who always appear here, and many of them you have listened to their voices, and we are trying to understand from different perspectives of the bail denial of the Dr. Kizza Besigye and his AD, Obed Lutale. I was with you, Isaac, and you are saying these grounds and the reasoning within which the justice premised her denial for the bail application is actually justifiable, and we are trying to understand and hear you out, and I know many Ugandans are.
Many Ugandans are disappointed. Perhaps those are...
No, they are also listening.
His supporters. No, for me, the issue here is that the judge made a well-reasoned... it was a well-reasoned judgment on the part of the judge, right?
The biggest part of the ruling is well-reasoned.
Is well-reasoned. Now, for me, the argument should be that now, okay, we have argued the legalese, bail has been denied. They should, if they find that they can they can explore other avenues to get it. That's on that side. But politically, like I said, if you are saying that this is a political case, how then how then are you surprised that bail was denied?
Isaac,
we are entering the season of politics,
the tweet which
right?
has just read.
How can
you divorce politics from this case?
Okay, no, the tweet that the CDF gave. First of all, I didn't want to go there because you see the CDF has given a disclaimer to his tweets, and he has said and very clearly, if you do not see my signature, if you do not see my face or signature on a tweet, please.
That is a ghost typing.
No, he said, please treat it as you may wish. You get? And as some of us who know that for sure that tweet
and
is...
remember, the CDF is an influential person.
Well, no. Let me just give background. We're arguing Dr. Kizza Besigye, yes. But let me just give the background.
The CDF...
I have promoted all my officers who beat people in Kawempe. And indeed, officers have been promoted. So there are no officers that have been
there were promoted. Officers who were promoted who were there before on the promotions thing. But
how did it happen after he had already?
Which officers in Kawempe? Which officers were in Kawempe that were promoted? Please, let's be clear. Let us get out of Yagambye, so and so and so. Please say these officers who were in Kawempe were promoted from this rank to this rank.
What if I gave you the names?
Please, you're on the air. Please, you look for them and give them. But what I'm trying to say is that there's always that we are in the political season, and anything
and
that
the influential people can influence even the judges.
My point is that, for example, if the CDF goes and tweets about women, how are you going to, Wandera, tell me that is somehow a government policy?
A serious
for me,
no. How is that government? How are we going to judge him? He's Beyonce is influential in the CDF. In the CDF's mind that he's going to deploy in Kisangani. Look, my point I'm saying that there are certain things the CDF tweets that are either thought-provoking, thought-disturbing, but at the end of the day, or at the end of the day, they might be diversionary, they might be so many things, but at the end of the day, the aim and goal of him getting the attention or the numbers on the social media is clear as day.
So bad that you think that the CDF is only looking for numbers. He doesn't.
He's not the most followed. He's getting there. He's getting there, that's for sure.
He doesn't have to do that to get there.
That's your opinion.
I want to bring you in, Franklin. Where do you see this case going? Especially that now we are arguing it from even us, the laymen of the law, have the ability to argue it from that level. And we have not said, no, we leave this matter to Julius to try to help us understand that we, myself and yourself and myself and Isaac, are coming in to argue this matter. Where do you see it going from here?
First of all, 2006, Besigye was nominated from jail.
Yes.
And right now there's a process of registering a political party where he's a member. And I see...
A founding member?
Yes, a founding member. I see the fear of not allowing either him appear on the ballot or the process going much faster, and by the time the nominations and all these things come, a decision is already taken. Whether positive for him or negative, that will be another issue. But the path it is taking may be similar to what happened in 2006.
But we shouldn't worry about that. Even when he's in prison, he still can't be nominated.
But now the grounds have changed. You see, in 2006, things were not as they are now today.
They are now today.
You see somebody saying that old man, I kept him in prison, and we are just arguing about that here. And you see, right now, the ground is more hostile than that time. That time, I think we were not sure whether he is capable of mounting a serious challenge or not. But now it's a different situation right now. He has been tested. He has been there. So politically, that's what is playing out.
Yes. The political angle to this case is that you might argue that government is trying to maybe curtail the freedoms of Dr. Kizza Besigye because of the political threat that he might present, right? I think they are achieving what their intention is. If keeping him in jail, I had forgotten that Kizza Besigye was still there. Why? The general mood and feel of the country is that we had moved on.
Ladies and gentlemen, you should see the look
of course. You as a pumpkin, you know, not a pumpkin, a watermelon. You as a watermelon, I've never been green anyway.
It's only my blood.
Whatever it is. They hire the monkey crimes, the clear rights behind this. But what I'm saying is look, politically, if the goal is to keep Besigye out of the news, they are achieving what they are achieving their goal.
In the news.
No, what I'm saying, for the past 2 months or 3 months, there was outrage when he was in the court martial. You saw the pictures, you saw the activism on the social media and Twitter and everything. It has been quiet for the past 2 or 3 months, and I think PPF, is it PPF, PFF, that one, whatever it is.
PFF.
Yes, it's now up to them to see how they are going to translate this alleged suffering of Dr. Kizza Besigye into some kind of sympathy political capital.
Do you think the denial of Dr. Kizza Besigye bail tonight gives him a lot of limelight in the media?
Well, it might give him some short-term gain.
Okay. I want to come to you
for me the problem,
before we go to for a quick commercial break.
For me, the problem I have is that when we are discussing these decisions, we discuss them in singularity. I mean, yet these decisions impact all of us.
Yes.
Derek, if you appeared in a court tomorrow and you're applying for bail,
God forbid it.
they will cite these decisions as precedents.
Yes.
And they will keep you in jail. They will say Derek is a journalist, he's very influential, therefore he is going to influence witnesses, and you will be in jail. So we should look at these decisions more serious.
Isaac is influential.
No,
yes.
Let's go for
No, look
we shall pick it up from there and more. Hey FM, welcome back from the quick commercial break. My name is Derek Wandera. I am having Isaac Kayonde, I have Franklin Draku, and Julius Mark Mutawe, with whom we are dissecting some of the topical issues of tonight, this week. This week we have seen that the UPDF Amendment Act is bouncing back to Parliament, and something that's quite connected to that is the alleged cash bonanza in Parliament. Something myself, I know that not many parliamentarians have come out outrightly to confess that they have had the money, they have gotten and received the money. But I know for sure that I've done a similar story in the 40 million bonanza, where many of the NRM said, we haven't gotten the money, show us the money. The parliamentary leadership said we haven't given out any money, but our sources told us we have the money. It's here. Some of us touched it and saw it. Some of them, after even breaking the story, they came out and presented the money that yes, it's here. I have received it, and Parliament compelled them to try to apologize. And we know that for now it might be as there is a lot of subdue processes going in there to try to put this story down and stuff like that.
Yes.
And Isaac, I don't want you to comment before I invite you, because I have done this story, I've investigated this story, and gave me an award because it was because of its truthfulness in 2022. And today I have I'm supposed to have one of the most talkative panelists. That's Joseph Sabiti in this newsroom, but in this studio, but he has escaped narrowly. But I want to bring you in Franklin, who is a parliamentary senior reporter, to try to bring us to speed. Where did this even start from, the 100 million cash bonanza in Parliament that's making this country cry and throwing everyone in outrage?
Not the first time.
Not
the same old story. So,
yes, same old story.
The same old story. And when you see the response from the Parliament, it is a standard script. It's always the same response, that Parliament processes money through this to the best of our knowledge. They have not done that.
No, I just wanted to.
If you read the previous responses, it's the same. But if you've been in that Parliament and you just sit and observe, you will know that a lot of things go wrong. The discussions, the behind the scene happenings, you will know that really a lot of things are going wrong. And when you see money exchanging hands, and it normally originates after NRM caucus happens.
So, Franklin, first bring us to speed. What is this whole 100 million alleged to be connected to? Why are the MPs allegedly receiving this money? And I'm going to remove the word allegedly with time, because at some point,
of course.
Okay. One, remember there was a battle over Uganda Coffee Development Authority.
Yes. And
eventually the battle was won. The authority went. Then there has been this controversial one of UPDF Amendment Act.
Yes, coming back to Parliament.
It's coming back to Parliament.
To try to bring back court martial.
Yes. And the discussions in the corridors, the whispers in the corridor, is that they are softening the ground in advance, so that when this the bill comes back to the Parliament, there is a smooth sail. That is the whispers in the corridor, which at the moment, I am not sure whether it's true or not, but that's what's happening. And it's so unfortunate. Parliament is supposed to be an independent organ of government, and actually it is independent. But when you see the dark corridors where things are happening, you begin to see, are they independent? Is it a transactional center where I can float my ideas and get paid for it? So that's where the question for me is, if we are going to do a transactional kind of politics, the laws are, the acts come out of such kind of transaction, where are we taking this country to? Yeah. Because the decisions that are made in that parliament affect everybody, even our future generations are affected by this decision. And if it is at a pay, what is the future of my younger daughter? What is happening?
Okay. So
that's where my anger is.
I can actually tell you that with Parliament Authority, when I did the 40 million saga cash bonanza, that was an appreciation for passing the. It was actually an appreciation for passing the supplementary to the State House. That was about 20-something billion to State House. At that time, I called the spokesperson of Parliament, and that is Chris Obore. Trust you me, after the story ran, we have never talked. It's now coming to 5 years. He doesn't take my calls. I think he even. Yeah. So I know, and I'm not surprised Joseph is not here. But Joseph, wherever you are, you are supposed to be here to give us the background to this story.
The last time I was here, he said that the Ministry of Corruption is the only ministry working in Uganda. I wanted to ask him if it's working.
Is it still working?
But I don't want to sound like.
If I bring you in, Isaac.
So we were looking at the time. We were looking at the time.
Hey, we are looking at the time. Yes. So just a few words in about 1 minute.
Yes, on the background of what I've just said, what Joseph said here, I wanted to know from him if the ministry is still working.
Of the Ministry of
Corruption, like he said.
It is neither here nor there, but it is there.
Who is the minister? Is the question.
Those are the questions I wanted to ask you. Okay. But he is in the bush hiding. But on a serious matter, you know what happened? What is going on in the parliament? Actually, not only in the parliament, the institutions of government, because these institutions are the vanguards. Or, I mean, they were created to protect the ordinary Ugandan from things like what is happening there. Yes. Like the courts, what I was saying about the courts. These judges must know that they are supposed to work for Ugandans. The same thing, these MPs must know that they derive all the power, all the positions they have from the people. Instead of them, paying allegiance to individuals, to entities, they should care about Ugandans. We have bad roads in Uganda. They're sharing money in billions. If it is true, of course, I have not yet confirmed. I've seen there's a document I've seen here, purportedly authored by the president, who was saying, that is street talk.
Yes. No. Read that document very well. There was nowhere the president said this money has not been given out.
No, but he said in his letter, it is alleged and supposed. Right? Once he says that, he didn't want to dwell so much on it, because he was trying to emphasize that this is a story being pushed by the opposition, and I can read it.
And he also said
he did not.
Like
we can read it. We can read it. It's not very far.
Let's give these 4 minutes to Isaac.
It's very unfortunate what is happening.
Yeah. Okay, so for me, I think you've said it all. I don't want to defend the 100 million, because I think it's a morally bankrupt idea for someone to imagine that they're paying them 100 million. But to use the Daily Monitor's adage, same old story, but there's a difference. Same old story, different facts. For me, what shocks me is that the discreetness about this 100 million. First of all, no opposition person has come out to say, okay, I got the money, even by mistake. You get? But they have their story, right? They have their story that 100 million was going out, right? Let me tell you something.
Isaac, did you expect?
Let me tell you this, and I'll give you all the times that these MPs have given money. 5 million shillings was given to change the constitution back in 2005. Yes, MPs came. Those who refused, rejected it. We saw who got the money. 29 million was given not so long ago, right? Now, what happened? Even Betty Numbers, who was alleged supposed to bring it back, didn't. 40 million was given. Now the man Twaha Kagabo, who was NUP that time, brought it back. As in, there was evidence of the money. I know, listen. There was evidence of the money being given. That I can tell you, it is so difficult. We are 1, 2, 3, 4 people in the studio. If you gave us one story to go out and tell, it will probably change, right? For me, my thing is this. This 100 million, one, is being propagated by
foreigners?
No, by a certain group of people, the opposition, right? Who, especially the NUP people. Now, what causes the doubt for me? And I'm not saying it wasn't given.
Why wasn't it propagated 2 months ago?
That my point is this: we are entering the silly season. You get the issue of perception is great. That you see. Now they said they would produce for us a list of the people who got their 100 million. We have waited. I waited for sure. The issue here is that, look, I'm not saying that the MPs didn't get their 100 million, but I'm saying, like, look, if you get 100 million and give it to 500 people, I guarantee you there is someone who will be whose moral conscience will outweigh him and say, okay, Isaac, here is. I got this money at this point.
Isaac.
Yeah? So, for me, all I'm saying, as I conclude, is that, look, we are going in for maybe the next couple of weeks. We shall know either whether the money came out or the story will inevitably die due to a fact that there is no evidence being presented by the groups which are alleging and the group which is taking. Nobody.
I actually think this story is a developing story, and for sure I know that there is quite that's going to come out with time. But I know that this is all we had for tonight, and we have to say a very good night to our listeners. I will hand you over to the able hands of Saint Tamu, Rebecca, to take us to the news. But from us